Unsyndicated presents Off the Air with Sean Baligian.
What is up? Glad you could join us. Look who's over our house. Isn't
Hi.
that nice? Nice to see my buddy. How you doing, pal?
My wife's calling me. It's like she doesn't know what I do.
It's perfect timing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's amazing how that get used to it. Many years in this business. Yeah, you better take care of that. How you guys doing? Everything well? He's Blake. I'm Sean. Infinite sorrow. All right, can I start here though before I get your thoughts on Game 7 and the series as a whole? This morning, I don't know if your side of town had the same thing going on as my side of town did. We're out in lovely Northville.
Narnia.
It was pouring rain.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a cold rain. And there was breeze. And it was like 60-something degrees. And I was like, of course, this is perfect the morning after hockey ends. Because my brain immediately goes to football. And for what it's worth, again, not that anybody's counting, okay? We are 60 days away from week 0. And I just sat on my back porch, and I'm such a loser. I even took a video of it. I didn't see if you saw it on Facebook.
I saw.
Okay. I was like, this is the best. This is the greatest day ever. Are you kidding me? And I couldn't help but just longingly think of the cider mill in college football.
We want college football back.
Yeah.
That's all we want.
No, I don't
We're
think
pretty simple men.
I don't think it's asking for too much. I really don't. I don't think it's asking too much. By the way, thanks to all of you who participated during the Stanley Cup playoffs. We obviously had a lot of fun here. I know, Blake, you were able to make it over a couple times. Appreciate it. We'll get your thoughts on what transpired last night. We were just talking, Blake and I were just talking. The funny thing is, I think we're going to try to figure out a way to do it like every Saturday. Like just do a bona fide hockey show, like hockey night in Sean's basement type of situation. And we're going to do that once the season starts. You like that idea?
I do. I think that, like I was telling you before, I think it's just a cool, different way for you to interact with all of our lovely viewers and listeners and everything like that. It's just something different.
Yep.
Gets you out of your comfort zone too. Mr. I've been in radio since 1945.
This is great. I seriously doing this. This is like awesome. It's getting me all fired up. YT said name 2 ingredients in cheese toast. That was the pick 3 game. And like when nobody could answer the questions, like I would go name 3 members of the Baltimore Orioles, name 3 members of the Super Bowl 10 winning Pittsburgh Steelers. And when nobody could get the answer, so what we did, like the default mode was, all right, name 1 ingredient in cheese toast. Does your mother love you? Yes or no? Like things like that.
No,
because we had to give the prize away. Your thoughts on the Stanley Cup final, my friend?
I only caught the third because I was out at dinner with my lovely wife.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you. And I mean, obviously it was a great game from what I saw. I told you before the pod, the only thing I was very disappointed in was those final 2 minutes. Edmonton just didn't have – it just felt like they didn't have a shot. That game was over before it was over because Edmonton was gassed. That was obvious. And there was just nothing that they could do. They wanted to keep McDavid on the ice because they knew that gave them their best chance to score, but he was so gassed.
They had to keep him out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. And the way that Florida packed it in, even with so many close chances, I don't know. I just got the feeling Edmonton wasn't going to score.
Yeah.
And they really picked it up the last 5 minutes of the game. I mean, Edmonton was all over them, and there were a couple moments where you were like, ugh, and all that. But props to Florida. It was funny because somebody said to me today, "What a great series." I would disagree with that.
Really?
It was not a great
If
series.
Edmonton had won.
You know what it was to me? I think there are two different ways to look at it. I thought it was an interesting series. I thought it was an intriguing series. But if you look at the series almost game by game, right?
Mhm.
Kind of sucked. If we're being honest,
Yeah.
right? I mean, literally look at game by game. It was Florida. Game 3 was a little tighter. Edmonton with the swamp in game 4. Edmonton took control in game 5 and 6. Game 7 was like really the competitive game.
Game 1.
But it was 3-0. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was the first 5 minutes were interesting to me in game 1, and that seems like a month ago because basically it was a month ago. But if you remember, Edmonton was all over them, and they buzzed and they buzzed and they buzzed, and then Florida got that one opportunity the other way and scored. And you're like, and that was what I said after the game. It was like, that is such a backbreaker when your team is just buzzing all over the place. That's just a backbreaker. So I can't call it a great series. It was an intriguing series. It was an interesting series. It didn't suck because of the intrigue, but game 7 is what I want out of game 7. And I know that's not for everybody. And some people kind of said, yeah, it was kind of boring. I liked the chess match. I like the one mistake can cost you the Stanley Cup. And that's what happened. Poor Skinner.
No overtime games too.
Poor Skinner, by the way. Like the guy,
Great.
he completely redeemed himself, and the second goal is one that any goaltender will tell you, you got to have that. In game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final, you got to have that. And he did. He redeemed himself. All the people that were making fun of him, he redeemed himself, and then he gives up a goal like that. Like, are you kidding me? I feel sorry for the guy because, he really did, all jokes aside, he really did kind of redeem himself. And let's see what happens. Now, Eric said Connor MVP was a joke. That was a foregone conclusion after game 5. I'm not so sure. If Florida had won game 5, I have a feeling it would have been Barkov. Just one man's opinion.
I think it should have been Barkov, honestly.
When you have a transcendent type of playoff like Connor did, you have to give it to him. Especially like if you're a student of history, and you guys know me, I'm a geek. All right.
Nerd.
If you're going to give it to J.S. Jaguar, if you're going to give it to Reg Leach, okay, you have to give it. You have to give it to McDavid. Leach is the one in particular. Reg Leach was the one in particular where his team got swept in 76, for goodness sake, but he still found a way to win the Conn Smythe Trophy. So based on that, Blake, I think they had to give it to him. I do.
The only thing I think people forget, including me, non-hockey elite, that it's playoff MVP.
Yep.
Not finals MVP, which is different than basically every other sport.
It is.
So when you're putting it in that totality, I do understand it a little bit more, but I still think it's just so awkward and the optics of it are so weird when it's a guy on the losing team.
Mm-hmm.
And especially like McDavid having 0 points in those last 2 games, the recency bias kicks in. In those last 2 games, he didn't produce points. So in my brain, it's like he shouldn't have won it. But I have a dumb brain. We all know that.
It was nearly unanimous. I think there was only one person who did not vote for Connor. If I remember correctly, I looked at it this morning as I was kind of weeping on my back porch, longing for college football and cider mills to open. Nick said weird finals. Florida dominated first 3, Oilers next 3. Game 7 felt like it was Florida in control despite the tight game. I agree with you. That's why, Nick, it wasn't a great final. It was an intriguing final. It was a dramatic final. It was so many different words that I could throw out there, but I wouldn't, honestly, I wouldn't use great. It was a dramatic final. Edmonton looking like, okay, this is it. heck of a run, Edmonton, but you're going to get smoked by the juggernaut that is the Florida Panthers, especially after the way they rolled over the Rangers. Because don't forget, even though it was like 5 months ago, so many people out there thought the Rangers were going to work them. And like, honestly, again, if it wasn't for Shesterkin, Florida sweeps that series. I mean, they dominated the Rangers. So, to me, Blake, at the beginning of the series, you kind of thought to yourself, here we go. Remember the one line that we talked about like during the hockey show 100 times was, when are we going to see Florida's A game? Wow, Florida's up 1-0. Florida's up 2 games to none. Florida's up 3 games to none. When are we going to see Florida's A game? We never saw it. We really didn't. We didn't see them look like the Florida Panthers, the sandpaper and grit and wear you out to a nub and everything. So that was interesting. Jason said, any info on why Wallman and a second-round pick were traded for future considerations? Any info? Pure speculation on my part, but call this an educated guess. The myth of the Red Wings having a lot of cap space right now is exactly that. Before the deal, what was it at? It was about $29 million. But you have to remember, out of that $29 million, you have to go Lucas, you have to go Jonathan, you have to go, obviously, Mo Seider. There are guys that you have to extend, and a couple of those guys are going to be big contracts. So, again, just by using, like, my math and some of the cap stuff that's available out there, that left the Red Wings with about $10 million. This gives them a little more space. It gives them a more wiggle, and it opens up the speculation. Does Steve Yzerman have something up his sleeve? Is he going to make a splash? Because, Jason, I know we're old enough. Blake, I don't know if you remember this. You would have been young. July 1 used to be a holiday because you had so many big names out there. And so many big names would change address. Now what you get is you get more role players and quote unquote rank and file players that hit this, because teams smartly lock up their high end guys. And so now, while it's great for, ham and eggers like Blake and me, July 1's great for guys like us, because if we're doing anything, there might be a bidding war with the teams out there that have some cap space. That's a great thing, right, for the rank and file players. But it takes some of that excitement out of July 1. I mean, you guys remember some of the big names that were always out there. So, pretty educated guess here. I'll leave it at that. Jason, is Steve Yzerman is trying to create some more space. Now, what does he have planned? I don't know. I don't know, but I'm going to say it again. I think there was a little bit of myth going on. I heard a lot of people say this about, the Red Wings have all this cap space. Well, yes, but a lot of that cap space has to go to pay Blake. A lot of that cap space has to go to pay me.
I'm not cheap.
Yeah, and a lot of, you know what I mean? And a couple other, smaller ones. Look, Lucas Raymond, I think we can all agree. Do what you have to do, right?
Do you think
same thing with Mo Seider? Do what you have to do.
Do you think any of those deals will be bridge deals?
It's a good question. I don't think so. My personal opinion, I don't think so with those two. I don't.
You proud of me for knowing what a bridge deal is in general?
I'm very proud of you.
See, smart.
Jason said, so the Yzer plan at work. I think so. Because that is, again, deductive reasoning. If you're getting rid of Wallman, and if everybody knows what you're doing, you're going to have to throw something in there to sweeten the pot too. Thus the second, because I think that's what a lot of people are going, well, what the heck? And the second, well, if other teams know what you're doing, this isn't just Wallman. It's, okay, we know what you're trying to do, Steve. We'll help you out, but you got to throw something in there to sweeten the pot, where this, it doesn't come for free. So now what they might have planned, I don't know. I really don't know what that is. But I'm going to say it again. I know a lot of Wings fans weren't looking at what had to transpire when they were talking about all that cap space. It was at about 28 million. Again, you can follow this stuff online at one of the many, cap space, cap friendly sites. It's about 32 million now. And if my math is correct, now you're giving yourself about $14 million as opposed to $10 million to do some work. And I'm not saying he's going to do it all in one fell swoop, but now you might be able to make a couple of signings, if that makes sense.
That makes sense.
How's that? You think Detroit, unable to give up 15 pick, cost them Allmark? It's a good question. I'm going to say this again, and you know how much I hate the Bruins. I do. Don Sweeney's done a phenomenal job of having them stay relevant for many years now by changing on the fly.
Yeah.
And those are the tough decisions to make. And I give him credit. And this is what you saw Steve Yzerman do when he was in Tampa and a little bit here in Detroit. You cannot think with your heart. You can't. You got to think with your head. And sometimes doing that means you're giving up a guy that you don't really want to give up, that you find an attribute. But if this is Ottawa, and I know Ottawa's kind of been a goaltending graveyard, you got to be happy as a pig in crap that you got a guy like that for the price that you got it. You know what I mean?
No, that makes sense.
Eric said, guys, are you interested in the NBA draft tomorrow?
No.
None.
Moving on.
None.
No, I won't even watch it.
None.
I don't know a single, I can't name a player. Klingon. That's the only guy that I know that's projected.
Wasn't he in Star Trek? Klingon, or wasn't it something like that?
Donovan Klingon, the Yukon guy.
I forget who I'm talking to.
Yeah,
he doesn't. You're
making a Star Trek reference.
He doesn't. You're
watch getting things. Real.
He doesn't watch things. Hey, can we talk about our friends? Hold on a second. Let me I got to make sure, because I have so many things in here, Blake, and we have to figure out that sound thing. I know, isn't that funny? I sent my buddy that picture. I want to talk to you about all about catering, and you have to figure out why the hell I'm not hearing when the music was on. That's what I'm worried about. Was it that button right there?
I don't. We got to. I have to mess with this.
We have some work that we need to do. So let me tell you about All About Catering. All About Catering LLC is a full service caterer, graduations, weddings, bridal showers, corporate events, anything you need catering for, from 25 to 4,000 people. All About Catering will take care of you. Customer service and satisfaction is their number one goal. Don't sweat your next big event. Just go to allaboutcateringllc.com today. See their menus, the 5-star reviews. Guys, I'm telling you, I've used them. Rick and his staff, outstanding. Give them a call, 586-731-1398. That's 586-731-1398 to get your event started today. He said, YT said, did you catch any of Gore's presser? Oi.
I did.
It is.
Unfortunately.
It is.
And it started like an hour and a half later than it should have.
YT, I'm with you. It is. The Pistons are the ultimate hamster on a wheel. I'm sorry that I have to keep saying that line, but yeah, I've said it for 10 years and nothing's changed.
I think you're putting it nice. It's more like that monkey that just bangs the cymbals
together. Well,
that's what's going on.
Dude, let's face it. I mean, the hamster on the wheels, little legs are working real hard, but they aren't going anywhere.
Yeah.
And then he slows down and same thing. He's not going anywhere. It's depressing how bad this franchise is. I hope Trajan Landon's the answer. I don't know. I have no idea. There's a way out, but it starts with talent. I told you I got killed a couple years ago when people were having the spontaneous celebrations when the Pistons got number one.
Oh, but there was people online saying that it was a top 5 Detroit sports moment in their lifetime. That was a legitimate thing that people were saying. That one, I don't want to go on this tangent.
No, do it. I want you to.
That one pissed me off real bad because, first of all, you're a moron. We've seen championships unless you were like 2 years old, we've seen at least a championship in your lifetime.
Yes.
We saw the Wings win one, right?
Yes. In your lifetime.
Yes. That one pisses me off, and then it's always It's that freaking JD Martinez regular season home run that gets people all
I
ramped
don't
up.
get that.
And
In a
people are like,
season-
this is a great moment in Detroit sports. It was a regular season game.
And in a season where they fell flat on their face the last weekend. I don't. That was really crazy.
Loser
And
talk.
and I'm not joking. I got killed because you know what I had the audacity to say, you guys, can I get excited when I see how good this kid is? Because guess what? Just being good isn't good enough. You have to be a quote unquote franchise player. Cade Cunningham's a fine player. He is. Like, no disrespect to the guy. But, like, come on, that's not a franchise changer. It isn't. It didn't take long to figure that out. Here we are. Ray said, doesn't matter who Detroit picks. The guy who goes before and after will be all-stars, and the Pistons pick will be a bust. It's pretty hard to argue with that logic based on what we've seen. Eric said the Yanks can't score runs. Well, they're pitching. That's always been Bill was kind. Sean should have his own grilled meat smorgasbord catering service. Did you like the food tonight?
Sean made me food, and it was very good.
And Blake doesn't usually say that.
It was very good. I enjoyed all of it. I ate it all right before we went on. And if you hear me burping during this, I'm very sorry, but it was all Sean's fault.
Sean, will Bally cost fans from seeing the Wings this year, or is it just the Tigers? Until a deal is broken, yes. Yep.
And people will. I think the Tigers thing is frustrating for people, but if the Wings are like, because the Tigers stink, so that doesn't affect people as much. If the Wings are good and people can't watch them, that's not going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to get really ugly.
Yeah.
I don't need to start yelling about that again.
No. Dave said if Toronto waves Samsonov, that might be a nice, affordable fit. It's funny you bring that up, Dave, because I was having a chat with a guy today who said to me, why can't the Wings make a move like Ottawa did with Allmark? And I said, well, do you want to get a guy and number one, take a chance that he's not going to resign here? That's number one. Number two, knowing full well that your goaltender of the future is waiting in the wings. And I'm telling you right now, it's going to be Trey Augustine. And I'm not just saying that because he's a Michigan State guy. They're looking at Trey Augustine as their goaltender of the future. Call me a homer, but also call me right when we find out next year, not next year, after this next season, that he's the goaltender of the future. So with that being said, do you make a gutsy move like that? Do you give up capital? Do you give up a first round pick? Things like that. And you have to weigh the pros and cons in regards to that for a guy that, okay, are we going to re-sign him? That's A. B, how long is he legitimately going to be our goaltender? Right? And don't get me wrong. Again, if you follow Steve's pattern in Tampa, which that's all we have to do, is he got himself a Ben Bishop and he waited. All right, I took this kid, this Vasilevsky kid. We're going to take our sweet time for him. How'd that work out? I mean, Ben Bishop took them to the finals, couldn't finish the job. And then Vasilevsky, I think it's safe to say, probably for a 3-year span, he's the best goalie in the world.
Yeah.
You know, and not that he's chopped liver now, but he was the best goalie in the world. So that's a good point. Bill said, we need Wemby. We were robbed.
He was always going to San Antonio.
Yeah. Tim said, disappointed Ottawa got one of Boston's goalies instead of the Wings. We're just hitting on that. I just don't think that was in the cards for the Wings right now. People aren't going to like this, but at least I've been consistent. My clock starts with Steve Yzerman now. I've said this for 4 years.
Literally today.
Yeah, I've said this for 4 years. My clock starts now. This was going to be a 5-year plan. You didn't want to hear it. If I had a dime for the amount of times I said this since the day he was hired, I'd be a rich, rich man. My clock starts now. I don't think you're going to be happy with what you see next year. You can quote me on that too. Is your goal just to make the playoffs? If your goal is just to make the playoffs, maybe they get in. Maybe they get in. I think as they are right now, I don't think they're a playoff team, but maybe they get in. if your goal is to compete for Stanley Cups, they're not going to be there next year. You're going to have to wait a couple of years after that. Obviously they're on the right path. You see the pieces that they have. I just think a lot of times, Blake, people want to put the cart in front of the horse. That's my opinion.
Well, we live
That's
in
what fans do.
I want it now. Like, I want this now. I want the Lions to be good now. I want the Wolverines to be good now, which that one happened. But I want the Wings to be good now. Oh, you're telling me we're bringing in Steve Yzerman? They should be good this second.
Automatically. Yeah, just
Amazon delivery.
Yeah, automatic. Well, I mean, crap.
Oh, we almost got a live jar.
Think of the Stafford deal. I mean, I was arguing with people, like this is no joke. I was arguing with people before the 2021 season. Man, you are downplaying the Lions, man. Are you out of your mind? Like, are you serious? Like, and I said, my buddy Art, if you're watching, Art Smith, he was like, you got to jump on the Lions limo. You got to jump on the Lions limo. I said, 2 years. Call me in 2023. There's a reason why they made that pick. There's a reason why there are 2 first-rounders both years. Let's see what happens in 23. And it certainly exceeded our wildest expectations. And now Blake's a member of the fan club. Yes, you are. Don't argue with me. I'm not even going to look at you right now. I'm looking right in the camera. Don't shake your head. Don't make bitter beer face. You're in.
I don't want to.
Let's hit Jeremiah. Only thing that sucks about not having Bally Sports, we don't see. Inside joke. School will pitch every 5th day. For the first time in my adult life, I have no clue who the projected 2024 NBA number 1 draft is.
He's some French guy.
Andrew said not Sebastian. I'm telling you, it's going to be Trey Augustine. I'm telling you right now.
Sean knows Puck, too, so I trust him.
Nah, well,
I know Puck.
I'm not just saying that from my vantage point.
You know people who also know Puck.
They like Trey Augustine.
Yeah.
And you know what you do? Okay, let's say it's Sebastian. Let's say it's Sebastian. Let's play a game. It's Sebastian, okay? Okay, cool. Then you jettison off Augustine, like Boston did.
Yeah.
You get yourself a draft pick. You get yourself some capital, whatever the case may be. Flip it around, okay? I'm right. It's Trey. Then you flip around Sebastian, depending on how well he plays, right? I mean, best case scenario, both these guys are what you drafted them to be. That's a best case scenario. You flip them, right?
Yeah.
Sounds cool to me.
I'm going to get mad at a comment you're going to see soon.
Dave said you were correct on Augustine. I'm telling you.
It's not that one.
Okay. Ray said, Uso is a okay goalie to get to the future goalie. He got hurt and they had to rely on Lyon, who got tired. Yeah, they asked Lyon to play too much. That's just not in his repertoire. I mean, if you remember that incredible run he had with Florida just a couple of years ago, same thing. He's only going to go so far.
Mm-hmm.
NBA draft is more rigged than the WWE. That's great.
I agree with that comment, Matt.
Ray said, I bet Edmonton would trade you Campbell if interested for a bag of pucks since Skinner proved himself. Can I ask you this, though, Ray?
I don't think so.
Would you really want Campbell? I'm serious. Would you? What would you give for Campbell in return? Now, if you're really asking for a bag of pucks, okay, deal, right? But we're going to war with Campbell. It hasn't worked. When am I going to get mad at?
I'm going to.
Okay, my goal is not to be an embarrassment in the loaded Eastern Conference. If we're being honest, it's been a rough transition from the West to the East. Yeah. Goff is a better quarterback than Stafford. Stafford is barely a step above Trent Dilfer as one of the worst quarterbacks to win a Super Bowl.
That's the worst. That's one of the worst comments I've seen on our podcast. Legitimately. Stafford is a Hall of Fame quarterback. Look at all the numbers, and you're comparing him to Trent Dilfer. Matt, I'm sorry. I have a lot of respect for you. This is just not just not true.
I'm going to say this. I think there's a reason that Jared Goff struggled so mightily with the Rams, his last spell there, and in particular that first year with the Lions. It's amazing what a quarterback can do when you decide that you're going to protect him.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And I often ask myself, how well would Matthew Stafford do in this offense right now with not only all the weapons, but that offensive line? I don't know the answer to that. I will admit every time, every opportunity, I was one of those guys that bagged on Jared Goff, and I can't take it back. You know why I can't take it back? He was bad.
Mm-hmm.
I can't take it back. Like I think it's funny when people have this, oh, what do you got to say about Goff now? Well, I can't change what I said back then. I can say I'm surprised. I'm surprised that he went like this. I am. But at the end of it, he was bad. He was look at his numbers. He wasn't good. They protect him. He's comfortable. He's got a lot of weapons. He's getting the job done. You got to give the guy credit. You do. You have to.
Oh, he played really well. I would still
You
take
love Jared Goff.
I would take Stafford over Jared Goff every day of the week, twice on Sundays.
Jason Sparty Shauner will Sparty Shauner. Okay, yeah, have your fun, everybody. And I know you, Jason. You guys have your fun. I'm going full Sparty, all that stuff. Just remember what I said. Remember it. They never remember when you're right. You know that. Where are all those guys that were making fun of me last night about the Oilers? Come on. Come on. They never remember when you're right, you know?
I agree.
Most people just don't understand the NHL draft. Only one or two players play their first year as a pro. Most find first-round choices play second or third season. Absolutely. Anything after the third round is a luck pick. Many fourth and later picks never made it to the bigs. Give Yzerman time. You know what's interesting about this? What I am very, very interested about is some of the young guys this year. Because, sorry, I'm going to get geeky for a second.
Get nerdy.
I don't think that there is a generational talent in this draft. And you've probably heard me say this 1,000 times. I think that is the most overused word ever. Generational talent. Okay, so let me follow this. If it's a generational talent, how can we have a generational talent every year? Every year that conversation happens, right? And I think the kid in Chicago, I think he is. I really do. I think he's a darn good player. Am I willing to go generational talent? I'm not really willing to go that far. I'm not. We'll wait and see with Bedard. But this draft, there are a lot of really good players, guys that I've seen, whether it be, watching the games or doing broadcasts, whatever the case may be. Okay, great. I think here, I'm going to give you an example. I think Artie up at Michigan State's going to go number 2 overall. I think he's a perfect fit for Chicago. That's another remember I said that. Am I sitting here writing Norris Trophy for him? No. Celebrini at number 1. Mac at number 1. Yeah, I think so. There's another kid that I'm telling you right now, Caden Lidstrom, which I think Lindstroen.
How everyone mispronounced it.
Yeah, I guess you're right. But this is a kid that I think, had he not been injured, would have been the full-fledged number 1 pick in the draft. I really do.
What are you injured?
He's a beast. A couple different things.
Okay.
Hand and back. He's still going to go top 5. To be honest with you, I hope he goes there at number 5. I think all of a sudden you're looking to yourself, ooh, Nick Suzuki and Caden Lindstrom up front. Okay, let's go. But because he was injured, he dropped. He could be a really good player, especially in today's NHL. But I think people expecting that you're getting this like transcendent player and generational talent. To David's point, it doesn't work that way, man. It just doesn't. Sorry, it doesn't.
Well, if it's a generational player, there can only be one in a generation.
Right.
And is McDavid in this generation? What? Matt
said, well, Goff's wife is hotter and not an embarrassment to them.
I'm not. I'm going to stay away from that one 100%.
At what point in time? I'm going to say it.
Yeah, you can.
At what point in time do you say, listen, tone it down a little bit? Just a little bit. Is that information that people need to know? Like, honestly, Our kids are old enough where they hear shit.
Jar.
I
Jar.
ship. I caught myself.
Jar.
Ship. You guys replay it. Ship. Our kids are old enough where they hear ship like that.
Yeah.
Shut the flip up.
Jar. Almost.
What
again.
are you honest to goodness? I don't know.
The chat is hot tonight.
Yeah. Jason said, Blake going to Shauner's open bosom. Yes, my bosom's always open. Stafford is one of the best pure passers in NFL history. Detroit needs to improve its D if you want one of those future goalies to succeed. Until you do, Carey Price in his prime couldn't win with that decor. I agree with you. Maybe Carey Price in 2021 did. I'm still convinced that he fell out of bed and bumped his head and thought it was 2014. Because that guy during that playoff run, that crazy run to the finals, I hadn't seen that guy in years, for what it's worth. I haven't seen that guy in years. All right, let me see. Sean, honest question. Did the Oilers screw up and play McDavid too much in the third period? He looked gas in crunch time last night. We talked about that early. He says yes, I say no. I am going to go down with my ship with my best players on the ice.
I just think it.
And I think Connor McDavid would probably take his stick and swing it at my skull if I tried to yank him off.
But don't you think it's got to be situational? A more experienced coach may have been able to time his shifts better.
You go with your stud.
Okay.
I'm going to live and die with my stud. I am. I'm going to live and die with my stud. So, intent to deceive. I've seen that rumor. I can hope for Caden Lindstrom. I can hope for him. I just perfect. All of a sudden, if you look at their future and what they have down the middle, it's like, whoa, wow, okay. They're not too far away again, and they were a change on the fly situation, although they did it more dramatically, certainly than Don Sweeney did in Boston. I respect the fact that both Blake and Sean bend their hat bills. Flat bills look absolutely ridiculous. I think this bill had no choice because, through the passage of time.
It's seen some stuff.
This head has seen some stuff. So time for Kelly Stafford banging the backup talk. That's what I'm talking about. Shut up. Here, go sit over there. Shut up. Are you serious? This is the same woman that said they were booing her and her daughters. Hey, kids, I banged the backup when Dad and I were at Georgia? And I like Matthew. I do. And you know what? Truthfully, I like her. She's a nice woman. I've seen her. I've talked to her. We would drive up on the elevator together when I was working down there and everything. Shut up. Honestly, come on. I don't think I'm off base for that. What are you saying that for?
Can we move on?
Yes.
For my...
See, thank you. Bill said Sean just hit the crossbar of the swear jar. You're damn right. After further review,
it bounced in.
You know what they did? They looked. They went to the booth. After further review, no goal.
They did the VAR thing. It's soccer. Have you been watching the Euros?
Yes, I love it. I love it.
I know. That was genuine.
It.
I know you do.
Hi,
I
Nick,
like the Euros.
I absolutely. I'm not joking. I love.
You want to do a Euros watch party for the final?
Mass. Also, Kalimba Edwards talk still makes me laugh. That's another one. That's a great bit from yesteryear. So when I was working with Tom Kowalski, God rest him, he wrote so many checks for Kalimba, and it was like a myth. Like you heard about the myth of Kalimba. Kalimba Edwards was this defensive lineman where he was like, dude, listen to me. This guy, I'm telling you. No, shut up. Listen and learn, okay? Kalimba Edwards is going to have 30 sacks in the next 2 years. Saying crazy things like that. You heard so much about it, but yet you never saw it in the field. So I started referring to him as a myth. And then it turned into he whose name dare not be mentioned, but it rhymes with Palimba. Like, who could I be talking about when you say his name rhymes with Palimba? And nothing happened to him. There were a few other ones. All right, can I talk? Boy, we're way behind.
I know.
Can we talk about Lindsey Broadwell real quickly? When it's time to sell your house, are you buying? Are you selling? Perhaps both. You need to contact the right agent. You know who I got? Right there, Lindsey Broadwell. Lindsey grew up on the mean streets of Northville and has expanded her team all over Southeast Michigan. She's an expert in all facets of the business, and when it's time to move, our friend Lindsey and her team will make sure you get the most out of your house and everything goes smoothly when finding your new home. Buyers, seller, first-time buyers, doesn't matter. Make sure you contact Lindsey Broadwell at broadwellhomes.com. She'll help you with everything from start to finish. Start your search today at broadwellhomes.com. Nick said, Lindsey Broadwell rules. YT said, you can't forget R2's pinner. So there was, can I tell you my great R2's pinner story? R2's pinner. Do you remember, this is probably a little bit before your time, but do you remember Jared Lorenzen?
Yeah, hefty lefty.
The hefty lefty.
Yeah, rest in peace.
The man could throw a football like no other quarterback ever.
Mm-hmm.
Like sitting on his knees, fire it 50 yards down the field. R2's pinner played at Kentucky.
Okay.
With Jared Lorenzen. And he said he would piss Jared Lorenzen off incessantly. Lorenzen liked to stand like 10 yards away from guys and just fire the ball and laugh at them. Because, the hands. And he said, R2's pinner said, honest to God, I caught every pass he ever threw to me. Every single one. And he goes, he would rear back and, you'd see his eyes would bulge and the veins would pop out of his fat head and everything. And he goes, he would just fire the ball at me. He goes, I caught every single one. And I'm going, are you serious? And then I kid you not, R2's pinner puts his hands up.
Mangled.
They were the two biggest hands I've ever seen.
Oh.
Like there's I'm not joking. Like twice the size of mine.
Yeah.
Twice. And so like Lorenzen got mad and that's what he did. He put his hands up to show showed Lorenzen. Lorenzen was like, and he goes, he never did it to me again. Like that. Cause but he got so pissed off at that. Sean, nothing tops the Brian Calhoun story where the entire organization decided one player and Millen went rogue. You know that, right?
No.
At the draft. It was the third round, if I'm not mistaken, right? Was it third or fourth? I think it was third. So you have these draft meetings, right? You have this whole staff, and everybody in the room decides the consensus pick is, let's say, Blake from the University of Michigan, right?
Mm-hmm. Great pick. Between
the time it took for him to leave the war room to go report the pick, he just decided his words, third round, his words, I had a hunch. And he picked Brian Calhoun from Wisconsin, running back from Wisconsin.
And who was he going to pick?
I don't remember who it was. Somebody told me, and I don't remember who it was. But Brian Calhoun was, to put it mildly, in the long, illustrious history of Wisconsin running backs, he would be down the list. And he didn't stick around very long either. So that's the way it goes.
Now I'm just thinking about Wisconsin running backs.
There's a lot of them, dude.
Do you remember when it was the year they had Monty Ball and Melvin Gordon, and they both went for over 1,000 yards?
Insane.
In that one season. I think there was a season of Wisconsin around that era that they had 3 guys go over 1,000 yards rushing in one season.
Can you believe how much we've bullshipped tonight, by the way?
Yeah, it's already been 43 minutes.
I know. We have to figure out this technical difficulty because we're going to have some callers on tomorrow, and I have to be able to hear them, right?
Yeah, you're going to be able to hear them. I don't know why you're yelling at me about it, but
can we talk about our friends at Legacy?
Yeah.
Did you know that thousands of Metro Detroiters have already called Legacy, like my family did? Legacy partners are going to hook you up, whether it be home, auto insurance, both. Our friends at Legacy Partners are one of Southeast Michigan's top independent insurance agents. They provide a full-service, one-stop solution for all of your insurance needs, personal and business, large and small. Legacy has helped our listeners by fixing mistakes other agents have made, asking the right questions to get the right coverage put in place to properly protect you. And oh, by the way, help save you some money. Chances are, if you haven't checked your policies in the last year, you're probably paying too much. We were. And you could be underinsured. We were. What are you waiting for? Let them help you like they help my family. Give Legacy Partners a chance to help with your home, your cars, life insurance, Medicare enrollment, business insurance needs. That's what they do. Give them a call. Get your quote today, 586-209-4106. That's 586-209-4106, or visit legacypartnersins.com to get started with your new quote. So we are going to talk. I'm warning you guys right now, okay? I don't know when. Blake, you and I need to plan this. Maybe after the 4th, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Blake and I are just going to do a college football show.
Yep.
We're just going to talk about college football, the whole damn show. And if you don't like it, like you come in talking about anything else,
Get the hell out.
Get out.
I'll kick you from the chat.
We will ban you. We need to do
Soft
this,
ban.
okay?
Soft ban.
Okay.
But yes, we need to just do, especially with the Tigers, the trajectory they're going on. We might be doing a few college football only shows.
Did you see what Matt said? Seriously, you can get a house, insurance, wealth management, all by listening to this pod. Why go anywhere else?
That's true.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Matt.
And we're idiots. I'm an idiot. He's semi-intelligent.
No, I'm pretty dumb.
But no, seriously, I know so many other guys. Matt, you're one of them. I just want to talk. One day we're just gonna have a college football talk, like not just the usual, yay, go green and go color that rhymes with glue. No, the thing that I love about Blake is Blake and I can sit there and talk about the Big 12. We can talk about the SEC. Blake can talk about most anything, and that's why we get along so well.
The Sun Belt.
The Sun Belt.
The Fun Belt.
I've been down to a lot of those places too, for what it's worth.
Ruston.
I have been to Ruston. I could tell you some stories about Ruston. I'm not going back to Ruston. We'll leave it at that. It was easily the most backwards place I've ever been. And I've been to some backwards places, but that took the cake. It really did. But that's coming up soon. So why don't we do that? You know what? So I'm going to be gone programming. No, I'm going to visit my son out in LA. We're going to go watch the Tigers and Angels actually on Sunday. We'll be back. We're going to do the hockey show on Friday the 5th. Maybe you want to do it Saturday the 6th? You and I, like Saturday afternoon. Let's just sit there with our pants around our ankles.
So if I'm not drunk on a boat, it's 4th of July weekend. Okay. So the odds of that.
Maybe then the 8th. Maybe we'll think about that.
Lock in the 8th for sure. We could, and if I'm available on the 6th.
Jason remembered. Listen, I've banned people before. I have. I have no problem banning people. None. I'm pretty easy going, but sometimes you push, banned. Lights, cameras, Maction. I miss the Mac. Bill, you may or may not know this. I did Toledo football for a few years. It is a fantastic conference. Love it. Absolutely. One of the greatest things they ever did was move those games midway.
Yeah, no, it's
fantastic.
It's awesome.
Just
for a degenerate gambler like myself, it's even better.
By the way, you know what we do have to talk about before we go? See, gosh damn it, you got me all fired up. Did you see this? The tweet that. So College Football 25 came up with the toughest places to play in college football for 20.
That's in the video game.
In the video game.
Yeah.
They have Kyle Field from A&M 1. I'm not going to argue too much. The whole 12th man. La, 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 la. Number 2, Memorial Stadium down in Alabama.
It's too high.
It is. Number 3, Tiger Stadium down in LSU.
That should be number 1.
If it's night. The
night game at Death Valley.
I'm telling you, this is drastically. You guys might not like it. Ohio Stadium is unbelievable.
No, it should be higher.
It is. I'm telling you, it is a great atmosphere.
Do you think that it's either that or Penn State is the toughest place to play in the Big Ten, right?
Penn State is different because not only do you have all those crazies on top of you, but getting there and getting out is next to impossible. Yeah. So that it's different. Ohio State fans are the craziest I've seen anywhere, including the South.
That just to lose.
Including the South. Ohio State fans are the craziest fans I've seen anywhere. No joke. And I say that with respect because I think college football and crazy go hand in hand. But boy, man, Penn State is something. See, and I had a different experience there. I got to go there and Toledo kicked the crap out
I
of them.
want to go. I like Penn State's in my top 5 places I want to go see a game. I saw.
Jason brought up a great old story. Shauner, would we even be talking bands if Phil was black?
Oh, I thought I was reading the next
No,
comment.
I have to tell you that. I have to tell you that story sometime. That's old school Jason. Penn State is only hard at night. Tennessee should be high on the list. What about Wisconsin when they do the jump?
So
I told him jump around's unbelievable. Jump around.
I could just probably bring up the tweet and put it on the screen.
Well, why don't you do that?
I'm
We're
working
going
on
way,
it.
dude. We're going way too long.
We have time. Why are you whining so much?
Because you know me, dude. I got the prostrate that's the size of a acorn.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I get, you know me. I got to take a whiz really quickly. Can I tell you about my friends though, the Handsome brothers? Before you put that up, is there possible we can do that? There they are. Look at them. Look at those guys. Can we just look at them? Those are handsome dudes.
Mhm.
Mike Husak on the left, Jeff Husak on the right. Jeff is an Oiler fan, by the way. And if you're ready to take charge of your financial future, look no further than the Wealth Advantage Group, located in historic downtown Northville, owned by the Handsome brothers right there with over 20 years of industry experience. They understand that your financial goals are as unique as you are. That's why they offer personalized expert guidance to help you navigate the complexities of financial planning. Now, whether you're saving for retirement, getting ready to sell your company, already in retirement, they can help guide you through every step of your financial journey. They work with clients throughout all stages of life and have clients in over 20 states. The investment world is a complex one, and if you're ready to start taking your finances more seriously, it's time to work with a couple of experts. Again, guys that have helped me and my family. Reach out to the Wealth Advantage Group at 248-773-8574 or check out their website at www.thewealthadv.com. All right? All right, you're going to put that list up now before we get out of here. See that?
There you go. So I said to you earlier, I think LSU should be number 1 personally to me.
Mm-hmm.
I think Autzen is too low.
I haven't been there.
I
have not been out to
either,
Oregon.
but just atmosphere. And so I've read about Autzen. The way that they built it and constructed it, like acoustically, they made it so literally at the 50-yard line is as loud as it can possibly be. They built all the acoustics so all the sound goes onto the field.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Right.
I think Neyland is too low as well.
Overrated.
You really? What about when they sing Rocky Top?
I thought it was overrated. I thought the whole thing
I want
was
to go to the game
the
there
cool.
too, really
Okay,
bad.
I would recommend it. The coolest thing was the river.
The sailgating.
Yeah, that was cool. But I thought other than that, the whole maybe I didn't see him in their prime though. Like I saw him in that era where Tennessee is back. You know, kind of like no offense to you, the whole Michigan is back era and all that stuff. So maybe I saw him at the wrong time.
How long do we have to wait until we hear Ohio State's back?
Stop it.
Is it this year?
Yeah, there's a huge difference between like losing
back?
a game
Are they back?
and going 5-7 and 6-6 and all that crap. I know you guys.
Well, for
you
Ohio
guys,
State fans, I don't know.
You guys
They're
love to
ready-
have your fun with Ohio State. They didn't go anywhere, and they're not going anywhere. Death Valley, Baton Rouge is the most insane stadium I've ever been to. Ohio State is a close second. Matt, I would go 1-2 there as well. That's I
Have
told
you
earlier.
have you been to a game at Clemson?
Yes, it was cool.
I've just heard, especially now with Dabo, it's like just the Dabo show.
Before the SEC expanded, I think I told you I went to every venue except I haven't gone to South Carolina.
Okay.
I'd like to go to South Carolina. I really enjoyed South Carolina. It's a different state, but I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. As Tim said, Michigan was 16, MSU is 22nd. I don't think that either place is
I think Michigan's in the right spot.
I don't think that either place is intimidating at all. I think Michigan is in the right spot because it's awe-inspiring for, when you're down on the field and you look up like that.
Mm-hmm.
But Michigan fans, come on, let's be honest. I'm not being mean. A lot of Michigan fans are people that sit on their hands. They are.
Probably I wouldn't be upset with anyone that says it's fourth in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
It's Ohio State, Penn State, Wisconsin, and then Michigan. And I would hear the argument between Michigan and Iowa.
Matt said, I thought when you said Hanson brothers, you said you were talking Slapshot. Handsome, Handsome. Those guys are handsome.
Mm-hmm.
Iowa's unbelievable. I loved Iowa. Loved it. I'm serious.
Did you see in the
Venerable
game they put
Kinnick
the
Stadium?
wave in and everything, which is
so cool.
one of the coolest modern traditions in all of sports.
Nick said, when is the next DFN show? I'm probably going to have to do it like the week after next, because like I said, Shep and I are doing a show tomorrow week. We have a lot of other stuff to talk about. And then I'm gone for a week, going to visit my son. I haven't seen my son since the first week of February. So I'm looking forward to that. Ray said, Vegas offers a tailgate party for $20,000. Does NFL tailgating compare to college one? No. Go to the Grove. Trust me. Go to the Grove down at Ole Miss. It was unbelievable, like life-changing stuff. And if you don't take my word for it, ask Kirby. Kirk, I know it's way up high on Herb Streets. But that's just we're giving you the sampler plate right now. Blake and I are literally going to do, and it might go for 2 hours. I'm not joking. Mm-hmm. It might go for 2 hours. We're just going to have an all college football show coming up real soon.
Like a season preview / what you have looked forward to at about 11:30 on Saturday nights when we're nerding out on here.
Yeah.
It's going to be great.
And we probably are going to, hey, anybody up? Where Blake and I are up, instead of texting each other, we thought we'd sit here. Nick said, is Jack in Cali? Yes, my son lives pretty close to Dodger Stadium. Tigers happen to be in town this weekend in Anaheim, so we're going to go have dinner with him Saturday night, and then he and I are rolling down to Anaheim to see the Tigers, and we get to spend some time with him. So we're really looking forward to it. My buddy, LB, Ryan Mahar, said, go Irish. I've said this 1,000 times. You are not a college football fan if you don't go to South Bend. It's unbelievable. I don't care what your feelings are for the Fighting Irish. Notre Dame Stadium is unbelievable. Unbelievable. One of the best game day experiences. Go to the grotto, walk around the stadium, pay homage to Touchdown Jesus. It's a phenomenal
Before you
game
said
day
that
experience.
It wasn't, and obviously I respect your opinion so much.
Mm-hmm.
Before you told me that, though, it was not even close to the stadium I want to go.
Trust me, you got to go.
But now that you've said that to me a couple times, I'm like, well,
you got to go.
And that one's drivable, right?
Yeah, it's about from where I live. You're in Narnia, so it'll take you like 5 hours. From where I live, I think it's about 3:45. I used to go down a lot. I haven't been down in a few years, but yeah, about 3:45. Like I saw Michigan State there like 3 different times. I went to the Stanford game. I went to a USC game. I'm telling you, and they're the nicest people there. It's incredible. First class.
Can I hold out until they join a conference?
You're
just
never
for my, just for my.
You're never going to go then. You're never going to go.
They'll join eventually. They're going to have to.
All right, listen, can you look at us? What losers. We did like 58 minutes. We didn't talk about ship.
We talked about, no, that's just not true. We talked about Game 7.
All right.
We talked what's more important than talking college football.
Well, that's a good point. Hockey.
So.
But listen, we got to get out of here. Tomorrow morning, Shep and I. Tomorrow night, I'm talking to some of my buddies. With the Michigan High School Coaches Association. It's going to be a Livonia edition tomorrow, so I'll have a big smile on my face. So until then, God bless you. I got to go take a piss. Bye.
Off the Air with Sean Baligian, featuring Sean Baligian and Blake Majchrzak. Produced by Todd Losey and Blake Majchrzak. Executive produced by Sean Baligian and Todd Losey. Theme song, incidental music, and related sound effects are from Play It Loud by Jam Studio. Engineering, mixing, and graphic design support provided by the unsyndicated podcast team. Don't forget to like and subscribe to Off the Air with Sean Baligian on all your favorite channels. While you're there, be sure to rate and review the podcast. Got something to say to Sean? Call the unsyndicated hotline at 248-237-3257.